All right.
All right, awesome. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Hey, so what's happening?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you saw the link that I sent over. So I'm working on this project I started a couple weeks ago. I'm calling it Over Instagram. I am a photographer, just amateur, just hobbyist. And I've been posting stuff on Instagram for a number of years. I have a separate account, from like my personal account. I've had mixed results with getting any kind of real feedback or engagement, or just sort of feeling like anyone was even looking at my pictures for more than half a second as they flew by it in their Instagram feed. So I started doing some research and seeing what else was out there, and how have people kind of solved this problem in the past, where you have somebody who, like me, has an interest in photography, wants to get better, and like Instagram is just not really kind of doing it for them. So I came across this site, Focussion, which seems like it's dead now. I don't see really any new posts or anything going there. So I started to kind of analyze it and look into it and try to sort of forensically deconstruct what was going on there. And I came across your profile because it looked like you were kind of a power user. I mean, I see here you posted like 232 photos spanning from about April 2011 to November 2014. And you got a lot of feedback, like 1,500 comments or something like that. This was a site that obviously had some success a number of years ago in getting people to sign up and use it. And so that's why I'm talking to you. So actually, if you could just tell me just a little about yourself, generally, in just a few sentences of kind of what you do. I know you live in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's I got into photography 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, all I had was just a point and shoot camera, and got into it. Kind of taught myself. I sell a lot of art. I probably sell 25,000, 30,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
I've got my art in 5 galleries down here in Southwest Florida, and then I also sell a little bit on Fine Art America.
Mm-hmm.
I used to sell on Fine Art America years ago. I don't sell as much on there anymore, but I still keep it up. And then I've also got a licensing agreement with a company. It's closer to where you're from,
mm-hmm.
Clearwater, and they do they print onto tiles, but they do tile murals.
Okay.
So like once a mural in their shower, or behind, or as the backsplash behind the stove in their kitchen. They do stuff like that. But as a result of them, I end up selling a lot of art all over the world.
Got it. Yeah. So they like kind of just pieces of the picture kind of printed onto each tile, and then it makes like a mural when you put it together.
Yes, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. And for me, this is more of a hobby. That selling the art and all that,
mm-hmm.
It's my hobby, and pays for most everything. And so I have a full-time job during the week.
Got it.
But the photography is, and I like photography because it keeps me outdoors.
Yeah, so this is a hobby for you, but I mean, you do make a decent amount of money off of it. So you're kind of more than just a super kind of casual enthusiast, let's say.
Right. And getting back to Focussion, or Focussion, however they pronounced it, I was on there quite a bit, but for me, I wasn't looking for feedback from other photographers. I prefer feedback from the regular public, potential customers.
Interesting. Okay, so
because photographers are going to tell you, "Oh, it looks great," or they'll tell you, if they're honest, that you need to fix this or fix that. But I'm more interested in what does the public think of my photo, to know whether it's something that I can market.
Got it. So almost like, does this just have kind of more mass appeal, not really looking for feedback specifically?
Right.
Interesting.
Yes, we're correct there.
How did you first come across the site?
I must have stumbled across it somehow. Um, I really not sure how I found it, but I ended up finding it. And actually, there was another guy on there from Prague. His named Martin. I can't think of his last name, but he and I still communicate back and forth periodically.
Okay.
He photographs models over in Prague. So we communicate back and forth. But other than him, I really don't communicate much with anyone else from that website.
Got it. So, I mean, when you first, I know it's been years ago, so I'm asking you to kind of dig back into your memories. But this is what I'm really interested in is, so you don't remember exactly how you might have stumbled across it initially, but I mean, when you first came across it and you said, hey, here it is, this thing. I mean, what were you excited about it? What was your thoughts initially?
I was excited about it, but then as more people got on board, they were posting lower and lower quality photos. And obviously, it was a site built to help critique people's works, to improve their work, but I was looking at other people's photos more, not necessarily to critique their work, but more for inspiration on what I could take pictures of down here, or ideas of how they took the pictures to see if it's something I could do down here.
Got it. And so you primarily are shooting like nature and wildlife stuff, from what I could tell,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So the way Focussion worked, so tell me if I'm getting this right, it was based on a credit system. So in order to post something, you had to give some feedback to other people, and then
yes.
you would build up some credits, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, when you were giving feedback, did you feel like you were giving feedback just in people that were also shooting nature and wildlife stuff, or were you giving feedback to people across a wide range of styles?
Across a wide range, because like I said, my friend Martin, he does strictly models. I don't do people photography.
Right.
Him, and there was a gentleman that lives in the UK, and he was taking pictures of different street scenes and stuff, which were, I don't really take pictures of street scenes myself, but I found his stuff very interesting, and would comment. If I recall, he would kind of just describe a little bit how he created the photo. I mean, so I thought it was a very interesting site, but towards the end, it was getting old or less interesting because the quality of photos new people putting up were not very good.
And so how did it work? I mean, did you just have to go seek out photos to review, or would it ping you? Like, would it email you? Like, hey, there's a new photo. Like, do you want to give feedback on this? Do you remember how that worked?
I don't recall it pinging me or sending me an email or anything. Notice it was more a matter of I'd go in every couple of days and check, see what new art people have posted, and because if I remember correctly, you were able to I won't say look at it by date, but you can go in and see what recent uploads were.
I got it. And so were you posting photos that was sort of a backlog of a bunch of photos that you had before, or were you kind of like going out shooting and saying, oh, well, this might be a good candidate to post on Focussion?
Yeah, it was like if I go and take a bunch of photos and I come back and I'm real happy with a handful of them, I might post one or two of them on there to share with the group. Got it.
So they were you were out shooting maybe on a weekend or something, and then you'd say, oh, these are kind of some of the best ones, let me post them on the site.
Right.
Got it. So like when you were giving feedback, I think one of the challenges of a site like this, how do you incentivize people to post feedback beyond just like, hey, nice shot, or something very just kind of throwaway, right? And so did you feel like when you were giving feedback, I mean, how seriously were you taking that?
If I recall correctly, there were a lot of times I was making suggestions how I thought they might be able to improve the photos. I can remember mentioning that there was a gentleman from Canada. I posted a photo, and I think I said I'm not real happy with it, and he copied and pasted the photo off of that, and then did some stuff on it, and then reposted it. so I could see, what the possibilities were. Actually, there were two of them. One was a sand sculpture, and another one was of a beach scene. And that kind of opened my eyes what I could do to improve some photos.
Got it. So just so I understand you correctly, he actually took the photo onto his computer and did some manipulation, and
Yep.
and then said, "Here, like, hey, this is how I would treat this."
Right. Yep.
Okay, cool. And so with that was pretty a cool experience. It sounds like for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I've seen that happen a few times on some of these sites where people will actually sort of take even like the raw files if people make them available so that they can really mess with them in Lightroom or whatever.
Yeah.
So did you feel like, it sounds like you've mentioned several people that you had interactions with, and Martine, who you still keep in contact with years later. So did you feel like there was much of a sense of community generally on the site, or not really?
There was early on, because there were quite a few of us that I'd say interacted together on the site, or there were artists that I would specifically look for, see if they posted anything new, because I felt they were very good photographers.
Was there a mechanism to follow people that you liked or not? I don't recall seeing that on there, but
I believe it was.
Okay.
Was.
So you could kind of segment down to people that was posting work that you found interesting.
Yeah, but if I recall correctly, I think those people started to break away from it also. It's a good site, thinking back, for people new into the photography.
Right.
But as those of us started to get better and better with our quality, it became less interesting.
Right. You sort of graduate out of it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so you did get to know some of the people, at least this one person, and that. Was there anyone else that you felt like you got to know beyond just pure surface level, other than Martine, or not?
No, that's pretty much it.
And so, what does that relationship look like? You guys email, or how do you primarily talk now?
Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, we have to use Facebook because he doesn't speak English. So he uses a translator in Facebook, and we communicate.
So that's cool. So, and are you kind of commenting on each other's work and stuff, or is it more just like a friendly relationship?
Friendly relationship. I'll comment on his stuff. He'll comment on mine periodically. But yeah, because I enjoy looking at his work because it's all based on models and different. I've been to Prague, so I enjoy seeing or being able to recognize the areas where his model is posing.
Got it. So he does like model stuff, portraiture in the street or outdoors.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
cool. So if you had to kind of sum it up, you kind of hit on this in the beginning, but what was the most valuable part of the site to you now, in retrospect, looking back?
Probably being able to look at other artists' work and seeing the quality and being able to gauge my quality against theirs, especially those that I felt were much better than me in regards to their quality. But like I said, towards the end, the people that had been on there for a while, and they kind of, as you said, graduated, they kind of slowly started falling off.
Right. Was there anything that you felt like during the course of the 3 years you were posting, things that you wished for, features that you wish that they would include, or anything that you wish was different about the site?
Well, I really, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I really like the feature, and I won't really call it a feature, but with a couple of guys, or one guy, I can't remember if it was the same guy did it on two pictures or two different people, but they were able to pull my picture off and manipulate it, and then kind of repost and say, hey, I worked on your picture, what do you think of this? I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be real beneficial and something in the future to be able to put it out there and say, hey, what would you all do with this picture?
Right.
And see what other people might come back with. And for me, that would give me more insight into what the possibilities are, as opposed to, instead of being kind of stuck in a hole of, how I want the picture to look, you get someone else to manipulate your picture, then it just like opens your mind, like, oh, I really like that, and it gets you out of your box.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of expanding.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, to your recollection, though, that only happened once in all the photos that you posted?
Two of them.
Two of them, okay. And you didn't ask for that specifically. Someone just took the initiative and did it.
No, I remember at least one of them asked, say, do you mind if I work on it? I said, sure.
Oh, okay. So they asked permission first.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that there's something really interesting to that. I can see how that would be. Yeah, it kind of breaks you out of your. We all get into our sort of routines with editing or things that we do, and we don't even really, we just kind of go on automatic. But then somebody else has those fresh eyes, and instead of just describing something to you, can actually show you. That's really powerful.
Yep.
Why did you stop posting? Like, what was there? Was there like a final? Like, was there a moment when you said, like, I'm just done with this, or was it just kind of you just forgot about it and never went back?
I got bored with it, and I'm sure my postings towards the end got to be fewer and fewer and fewer, and then I just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Went back to the website maybe a year and a half ago just to look at it, but I didn't see anything there that was of interest.
Yeah, I think from what I can tell, I mean, I've been poking around on there the last few days. I don't think, I mean, it's still up, it's still available to get to, but I don't really see hardly any activity. I think some of the latest stuff that I've seen, it looks like spam bots posting in the comments.
The company was out of either Denmark or the Netherlands.
Yeah, I saw that. It was like a couple guys, I think, from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that the site made you a better photographer at all?
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Yeah, because that was the early stages of me getting into photography.
Mm-hmm.
Allowed me to look at other people's photos to see the quality difference.
Yeah, so you've mentioned that a couple times. So being able to look at other people who are maybe doing similar things and saying, wow, like, that's better than what I'm doing, and how do I get there?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because like even today, if I'm going on vacation somewhere, I will go online and start pulling up photos that people have taken from the area, and so that way I'm able to. And this doesn't have anything to do with Focussion, but I go online and I look and see to get inspiration and where might be some good areas I want to go, as opposed to just going in blindly and then missing some of the better areas because I didn't do any research.
Right. Yeah. I've done that too, for sure. That's definitely a common thing, I think.
What type of photography do you do?
Yeah, so I mostly do kind of street photography, taking pictures of just people in the street, a lot of just, unposed natural stuff. That's kind of really what has drawn me back into photography. I mean, I've been interested in photography for a number of years, very casually, just shooting stuff, going on vacation and things like that. But more and more the last few years, I've gotten into that. I mean, I live in New York City, which, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening on the streets all the time. So it's kind of a playground for street photography in some ways.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like, guys like Martin Parr and, there's like classic street photography like Robert Frank and things like that. I've been doing a lot of black and white the last couple of years, shooting actually on film, like Tri-X film. So I've just, been playing around and experimenting with different things, but yeah, I don't sell any of my work or anything like that so far, so it's not very commercial, but
Right.
Do you use Instagram at all? Have you ever tried Instagram?
No, I haven't.
And is there any reason why, or just
Never was interested. Yeah, just never was interested. One place I'll post pictures is on Facebook, and then on 500 pics.
Okay, so you are using 500 pics as well.
Yeah, and I haven't posted on there in a while, but that is someplace else that I post.
So that's interesting. So how would you kind of compare 500 pics to something like Focussion?
Well, it's a much broader base. You have some people that are visiting that site. And I know a lot of photographers on there that post stuff. So I go on there. I enjoy seeing their artwork, recent things that they've posted. I'll post some of my better things on there.
When you say you know them, I mean you're familiar with them online, not that you actually like have a relationship with them.
Well, actually, there's a few that I do have a relationship with, and that they're
okay.
fellow photographers down here in Florida. The others I know of them, but I don't post a whole lot on there anymore either. But I do occasionally.
Do you feel like that site 500 Pics has suffered the same kind of problem as Focussion as it got maybe more popular, that there's less quality?
No, I don't think so. There's a lot of very high quality photographers on there, extremely high quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because it's so big, I don't run into the same issues as Focussion, because Focussion did not have a whole lot of members.
Got it.
It was like a smaller niche group of people, and the quality of the photos on 500 Pics is a lot higher quality. And then plus there are a lot of photographers that continue to post on there,
mm-hmm.
so it's neat to go on and see what they've posted. Kind of for the same reason I mentioned, like for vacation photography, I go on and do some research, because I go on there and see who's been to, say, certain areas of the Rocky Mountains or Cuba or someplace else before going there, so I have an idea of what areas I might want to specifically hit.
Got it. So like reconnaissance, like.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't. So when I was looking you up on, I Googled your name, so I was seeing on other sites you were on. I didn't come across 500 Pics, so I didn't know you were on there. But that's cool.
Yeah, it's under my photography name's Views of Paradise.
Oh, okay.
So it might be under Views of Paradise.
Gotcha.
Hey, in regards to Instagram, the main reason I've not done anything on it, you asked me a second ago.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is I've always been told to get to build up your followers and to build a presence on it, you got to be posting on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I don't get out on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I might get out twice a month to do some photography, and I don't want to be spending my time posting something and then 2 months later post something, because it's not going to develop a following.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram is a broad tool. It's not just for photographers, obviously. There's all kinds of people and now brands, and everybody's on there. So there's all kinds of ideas and advice on how to build a following, and so this is a part of kind of the journey that I've been through. The most obvious thing you want to do, everyone wants to build up a bigger audience, right, for their stuff. But at some point, and I was trying different things, and I was somewhat successful with it. But at some point, I was just like, well, why am I even doing this? Like, what does it matter if I have 500 more followers or 1,000 more followers or whatever? Like, it just started to feel meaningless and sort of pointless, because there wasn't really any true interactions or engagement, and I just sort of felt like, it's fine for promotion. I mean, if you just want to out there and promote yourself, I mean, obviously you are a commercial guy in some manner, and so maybe that would actually be good for you. But for a tool for people looking to kind of engage or get feedback on their stuff, it's like not really good for that at all. So.
Yeah. What type of equipment do you shoot? Canon or Nikon or Sony? Or?
Yeah, so I kind of started out with Canon. I've never shot Nikon. I have a 5D that I use as like my primary digital camera. I've gone through several different Canon bodies, but yeah, I have, and I've also gone through a lot of different Canon lenses, but I've kind of pared down nowadays. So for like street stuff, generally fixed like wider angle lenses. So I have a 50 millimeter that I use, and then I have some wider stuff too. But a lot these days, I picked up an old, well, not that old, but a Leica film camera, M6, and I've been shooting with that a lot, and just having fun with shooting film. That, like the last couple of years, that's primarily what I've been shooting with.
Cool. Interesting. I assume you got a place there that develops it for you.
Yeah, there are several places here in New York that will do development. Honestly, I've had really bad luck with them, and so I've been experimenting with actually just mailing film out to other places, because there are a few really high quality labs that are not in New York. So there's one called Photovision, which is out in Oregon, that I've sent stuff to, which is pretty good. And actually just recently I sent a bunch of film out to this place called Find Lab in Utah. I think they're in Salt Lake City or outside of Salt Lake City. Yeah. And they're really cool actually, because they will give you feedback on your film. So they process it and scan it and everything. They give you the scans back. But then they'll actually tell you, like, so for someone like me who, is still in the process of learning film, it's really difficult, because sometimes you don't know where things might have gone wrong in the process if you're not getting the results that you want, because there's so much extra stuff with film, right. Like because of the processing and the scanning and all of that matters so much too. So what they'll do is, so when they send you your stuff back, they'll actually do a little write-up and say, hey, this roll, like the exposures, like we're generally kind of underexposed, and if you look at like, shot number 7, versus 8, you can see that one was actually better exposed, and the colors are, shifted here or whatever. So like they actually give you some feedback on it, which is really cool. And actually, part of the thing that got me kind of thinking about this too. So
that's cool.
Yeah, but film is, a whole different beast. I don't know if you've ever shot film, and you said you got into photography around 9 years ago. So that was
2010. Yeah, prior to that, it was just a point-and-shoot camera.
Yeah.
Take a nice picture, but the landscape would be like the water's running out of the picture.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about composition and keeping your landscape flat and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, well, you got really nice work. Beautiful stuff. So you obviously improved quite a lot in the last 10 years. And I'm always looking at your earlier stuff on Focussion. I haven't really seen your later stuff, but
yeah, you can find it on 500 Pitch.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
All right. Hey, it was great talking with you, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
All right. Let me know what you end up doing.
I will. Have a good one, Sean.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right.